Hello and welcome to Audacity Sports Talk. Today we're going to be talking about the 2020 NFL Draft, specifically what the New York Giants did and how I thought that they fared and how people are viewing their draft. So we'll start out with the first pick in the first round. We had number 4, and we went with Andrew Thomas. That disappointed a lot of people. I'm not sure why. I don't understand why people would be upset about it. I don't understand why people like Stephen A. Smith are killing the Giants over this. Give me a break. It's a good pick. I understand we were looking at Isaiah Simmons as a possibility. But if you watch the NFL and if you pay attention to the NFL and if you've watched the NFL for years and years like I have, you understand that you cannot win in this league without an offensive line. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Let me tell you what you can do. You can win without a strong safety. Okay, you can win without a strong safety. And when I say without one, I mean without a top-notch strong safety. You can win without a top 10 strong safety in the NFL. You can't win without a top 10 offensive line. It's just hard. And if you do win without a top 10 offensive line, things went your way. You got a couple of breaks that went your way. Maybe the officiating got in there and helped you out a little bit. It's just not a good model to follow. So you can't be upset at the New York Giants for selecting, to me, the most easy pick for them to make. And when I say easy, I mean it's safe. Andrew Thomas is a safe pick, okay? The kid is strong. He's big. He has excellent technique. He does everything he's supposed to do. He shows up to every game and plays. Plays in the big games. He plays in the games where you're playing guys, teams out of Southwestern Tuscaloosa, right? It doesn't matter. The kid is a baller, okay? And he's safe because he played every game. He didn't miss anything to injury. He has proper technique, which is huge for a left tackle. Everybody should know that. And if you're going to cover the NFL in any capacity, whether at my level or a level of Stephen A. Smith or Max Kellerman, you can't ignore the simple facts that when you're a left tackle, technique matters, okay? It doesn't matter that Isaiah Simmons was there. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter. I thought they would take Isaiah Simmons. I really did. The reason why I thought they would take him was because of the fact that Joe Judge likes a type of player that is versatile, right? That could play different formations. It could be in the game doing different things. So I thought they might go that way. I was wrong. Guess what? It's not going to be the first time that I'm wrong. So get used to it. No, don't get used to it. I'm just kidding. So back to my point. It was a safe pick. It's a good pick. The kid is going to be a solid to Pro Bowl level tackle. That's his window, okay? At the very least, you're getting at least a solid tackle for the next 10 to 12 years. And guess who's going to be there for the next 10 to 12 years? Daniel Jones, potentially a top 10 quarterback in this league. Guess who's going to be there for the next 5 to 8 years? Saquon Barkley. Arguably one of the best running backs in the game. And I say 5 to 7 for him because you never know what the running backs in their contracts, and you never know what running backs in their health. It's very hard to come by an Adrian Peterson as far as longevity goes. I wish all the best for Saquon. I hope he does last 10 more years. I wouldn't doubt it if he does. But at the very least, you're getting 5 to 7. So what do you want? You want a marquee tackle to protect those assets because that is what the offensive line does. It protects your quarterback, keeps him upright, gives him the time to break apart defenses. And if you watched Daniel Jones last year, he surprised a lot of people. Surprised me. But you want him to have time. You don't want him to be under duress. You don't want him to have issues. You don't want him to be on his back. You don't want him running for his life. Listen, if we're all going to be honest here, Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame quarterback, okay? Don't at me. He is, okay? You have to erase the last 5 to 7 years. Why? Because he never had an offensive line after the Super Bowl years. The Giants abandoned that approach, and that's what doomed them these last 5 to 7 years. They just stopped focusing on offensive line through the draft. You can't do that. The good teams build through the draft, and they build on both sides of the trenches. You need the hog mollies like Dave Gettleman likes, and you need guys in the trenches on the defensive line. Then you build outside of that. But the Giants have what they need as far as offensive weapons go, okay? You've got Darnay Slayton, who is under the radar right now, severely under the radar right now. And I'm telling you, if you play fantasy football like I do, if you like to win every year or two like I do, you might want to take a look at Darnay Slayton. The kid is amazing. The reason why he's so good is not only his speed, because he blew it out the water in the combine a couple of years ago, or a year and a half. However, he blew it out of the water with speed. It's not the speed only, it's his route running. The kid is crisp, in and out of breaks seamlessly. You could watch film of him last year destroying some folks, specifically the Washington Redskins. He put those guys on skates, not because he was doing anything crazy, because he ran the routes the right way. It's a hard cover for a cornerback when a wide receiver knows how to run routes. So you got a running back who arguably is the best, right? You got injured last year, but before that was on a trajectory to just blow people out of the water numbers-wise, and he's just an amazing back. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run. He could pass protect. So you've got that. You've got Daniel Jones, who's emerging as possibly a top 10 quarterback in the next year or two. So why not protect it? And some people are shouting, well, why not get Jedrick Wills out of Alabama or Mekhi Becton out of Louisville? But listen, when it comes to linemen, right, you're taking a chance, right, that you're going to draft somebody who you think is going to be there for 10 years. You don't draft a lineman that you think in the first round might last a couple of years. But technique-wise, Thomas blew those two guys out the water. Becton is just a massive man. Massive man. I wouldn't have been disappointed with either one of those three, but Becton is just massive. 6'8", 6'9", just mauls people. Technique, though, you need that at the next level. You don't need as much technique at college, right? Because you can get away with the fact that you're just mauling somebody who's possibly not going to be in the NFL next year. But in the NFL level, you need that technique. Because these guys, these defensive ends, these outside linebackers in the 3-4 system, all these types of guys that you're going to be facing this year, it's a whole different ballgame, okay? It's a whole different ballgame. So you need the technique. Jedrick Wills possibly could have been closer to Thomas, but I think Thomas just had the longevity as far as playing all those years. He started at right tackle his freshman year, came in after that and just played left tackle in a tough conference, okay? A lot of folks want to knock the SEC because, you know, it's just a hate factor. I'm not an SEC fan, so I have no skin in the game, but it's a good conference. They produce nonstop NFL, like not just NFL talent. You're talking about Pro Bowl level talent from Alabama, out of Georgia, out of Florida, okay? You just had LSU. You got teams there that are just producing talent after talent. Look at this. I think we had something like 19 taken in the first round. That's amazing. And this guy was playing defense or offense and was protecting his quarterback against some of the guys that got drafted and held his own. I think he went up against the chasing guy out of LSU and couldn't do nothing against him. Nobody could do anything against the guy. He's solid. It's a good pick. Leave Gettleman alone already, okay? He did a good job. Next up, second round, you have McKinney. Xavier Mckinney out of Alabama. So that is just a no-brainer. Just a no-brainer. The kid is a first-round talent, hands down, at safety. For those of you wanting Isaiah Simmons, McKinney is very close to being, if not as good, better than him. Watch the tape. watch the tape. He played at Alabama, so it's an equally strong Power 5 team. He did the things that Isaiah Simmons did. He played in the box. He played coverage. He rushed the passer. And I don't understand why anybody wouldn't be excited over this pick. I think most people were, but that's a first-round player, no doubt. One of my favorite websites that I go to a lot, Walter Football, they do a lot of mock drafts, and they had him as high as 16, but it's no lower than 20, okay, going to the Jags. And for us to get him in the second round, it's a steal. It's a steal. So we got basically what we wanted out of Isaiah Simmons in a different person, and we got our left tackle of the future. Knocked it out the park the first 2 rounds. You move on to the third round, you have Matt Peart. That one was a little bit of a different one, out of UConn. Seems to be a bit of a project at this point. Really big guy, a little bit underweight for his size. Probably needs to put on another 20, 30 pounds to his frame. He's got the longest arms out of all of the tackles that were drafted this year, so that's a good thing. But like I said, he's a bit of a project. So the hope here is the upside, right? If he puts on the weight and he plays smart and he learns from people and you develop this kid, then you have a potential bookend with him and Thomas for 10 to 12 years, like I said. So I'm not sure if that was something that needed to happen in the third round, but you can't go wrong. Like I said, the trenches, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. So that's my take on the third round pick. Then you have Darnay Holmes out of UCLA, cornerback. That was a sneaky pick. I really didn't pay too much attention to him, if I'm being honest. He did really well in the Senior Bowl. Normally he played on the outside, right, was covering the number 1 receivers over at UCLA, but he played in the slot at the Senior Bowl, and the word is that he just shut everything down, and he loves to play it. Just never got a chance to play it at UCLA. So that's what we need is a slot corner, right? We have DeAndre Baker from last year, who we traded up in the first round to get, and the kid's going to be all right. He had a rough go of it the first few weeks, got a little bit nicked up, came back really strong at the end of the season. Then we got the signing from Carolina. He's going to be a stud, right? It's just nothing to talk about there. He's gonna be your number 1 cornerback. So if you have Darnay Holmes in the slot, who likes to play in the slot, who's a little bit of a smaller guy, so it works out well for him physically. He's fast. He can cover. He's athletic. He's got a really good work ethic. Just one of those kids that when you listen to them talk, you just hear the confidence, but it's not overconfidence. It's not that false confidence. It's just like, I'm going to lock you down, and I know it. And he's also versatile. Like I said, this is the Joe Judge effect. He can return punts. He can return kicks. He's going to be a little bit of a force on special teams. So that was a really good value pick for me in the 4th round. Next up, in the 5th round, you got Lemieux. Really good name for us New Yorkers, right? Not so much. Played in Oregon, guard, mauler, strong, just moves people out the way. I think this was a plus value for them. You probably don't have an argument against this kid getting picked in the 4th round, late 3rd round. And we've seen it in the past, okay? You see, guards do not go in the 1st round, most likely, right? Guards are, you can see them in the 2nd round, but 3rd round, 4th round is guard territory. And we've got another guard. And we're improving the offensive line. Dave Gettleman did a great job of just revamping the offensive line with the sign of Cam Fleming, with these 3 draft picks, and with the guys that we have coming back with Spencer Pulley, who came out of nowhere last year, and you already have guys that potentially could come back in Jalapeno, who played really good, but he's hurt, so we don't know if he's going to get back on this roster. But I think we just have a really good mix of starters and guys on the back end. You got Will Hernandez still there. I think if you line up Will Hernandez with Lemieux potentially being not only a guard but a center, and Pulley, and then you have the 1st round pick in Thomas, and you have Solder. It's a good line. That's exciting for me as a Giant fan. What else do you want? You want a good line. That's going to keep you in games. That's going to win you some games. So I'm excited about this pick. I think he could potentially be our center, like I said. Not sure. But worst case scenario, he's a guard and a really good one. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. After that, we went with Cam Brown at a Penn State linebacker. Who puts his hand on the ground. He's a pass rusher. Strong kid. Definitely could get to the quarterback. It's going to need to work, though. It's going to need to work. One of those kids that I think that his work ethic and his ability to like really absorb the NFL game is going to determine what he does at the next level. If he's able to eat it up and just learn and just get better, then he could potentially turn it around and be a really solid player for us. He's an edge rusher, like I said. He's got a lot of good upside. He's a good kid. So definitely a good pick for the fifth round or sixth round. Then you've got seventh round. We had 4 picks, right? I mean, you could go a lot of different ways with that. So we went with Carter Coughlin, which was a really good pick. Really, really good pick for that late linebacker out of Minnesota. If you watch the tape, you know, because I don't know about you guys, but as soon as the draft is through, I like to go back and watch all of these guys and watch their highlight reels. And, of course, everybody's highlight reel is going to make them look like an out-of-this-world Pro Bowler, right? Because they don't show you the lowlights, just the highlights. But I think he's going to be a solid player. He's going to be a guy that's going to be on special teams. He's going to be a guy that's going to be doing the dirty work, right? He's going to have that 1 or 2 plays a game that's going to maybe possibly turn the tide for you. And that's all you can ask for at a 7th-round pick. Last time I remember the Giants having a really good 7th-round pick, certain man by the name of Ahmad Bradshaw. How'd that work out? Pretty good. Pretty good. And then we rounded out the 7th round with T.J. Brunson, Chris Williamson, Tay Crowder. Unfortunately, Mr. Tay Crowder was Mr. Irrelevant. I really don't like that title, Mr. Irrelevant. It's become something of a joke, very light, and people don't take it too hard. And Mr. Irrelevant, if you don't know, it's the last guy picked in the draft. And it's kind of like a negative connotation to it, to me. It could put a chip on your shoulder if you're the last guy taken and you're just like, I just need to prove the world wrong. Or it could just take you down, man, if you're not mentally strong. I don't like the name. You know, it's just kind of unnecessary. It's the last guy picked, but guess what? He made it to the NFL. All right? Give the guy his credit. So those guys are going to probably be your special teams type players. If they make the roster, it's really, 50-50 for a 7th-round pick, especially when you have 4 to make the roster. I wish them all the best. I hope they all make it, and I hope they have an impact in the team. So I think overall, grades for a draft, if you're asking. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about grades, right? Because all we can do is give a grade according to what we think is going to happen, according to what we feel might happen. There's so many varying factors, right? Like injuries. You've got, guys just getting better out of nowhere in the league, or guys just were supposed to be studs and just totally bust. You never know. You never know. All you do is go according to what you think they did with their position. And if I had to give the Giants a grade overall, the only thing I think takes them down a little bit is the Matt Peart pick. I don't think it's a bad pick, but I think it was a little bit of a reach at that area. I don't know if they knew somebody else was going to take him in the 3rd round. I think we could have waited to get him maybe in the 4th round. So I think that knocks him down a little bit. And I give him a solid B+ overall, and that's a really good draft. I think this draft is going to determine a lot as far as the future for Dave Gettleman. I think he'll be judged off of this draft. I mean, if the Giants come out next year and go 3-13, and Thomas struggles, and McKinney doesn't do enough, and Peart doesn't make the squad, or is hurt, is out for the year, Darnay Holmes gets, blows coverages left, I think he might be packing his bags. That's the nature of the game, though. GMs are based, their performance is based off of drafts, right? And when you're drafting at the top, you're expected to produce with your draft picks. But I think this is a B+ draft. I think that the Giants are going to turn things around this year with this offensive line. And we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. I believe I am. Check the tape in about 6 or 7 months. You never know. So that was my take on the 2020 NFL Draft. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget the swag. I got shirts on sale, Audacity Sports Talk. If you need one, let me know. I could get one to you. Just please subscribe, share, like, and give me feedback. You think I was wrong about stuff? Let me know. You think I could do better? Let me know. I'm always open to feedback. If you want to hear something different, if your team's not a New York team, which I tend to base my stuff on, let me know. I'll talk about them. Interact. This is the internet. We need to interact with each other. All right. Thank you guys for joining. You guys have a great day, evening, night, whatever it is. And we'll see you next time.